Well, hello, everybody. Jay Rhymes here at the Periodic Review. We hope you're having an incredible day. Hopefully, we will earn your subscription, so don't forget to like and follow all of our channels. Make sure to share and turn on notifications. That way, you don't miss a content release. Now, today, we have some really interesting topics for you all today. One of them is a pretty big topic when it comes to social media, but we want to talk a little bit about reboots and sequels, because it seems that we are having a lot of those as of late. A little bit of the TikTok congressional hearing. We're also going to talk a little bit about what will AI do for entertainment. So definitely stick around and check us out here after we update with everybody, because we kind of been away for a little bit because, I don't know, somebody's been sick and somebody's been out of town. So
I'm back, though.
Let's start with ladies first. Miss Rianne, why don't you talk a little bit about what's been up with you the last couple of weeks?
Oh my gosh, Rianne, I'm your biggest fan.
Oh my gosh.
Can you please notice me?
Oh my
Can I have your autograph?
You guys make me feel so special.
Rianne's my online mommy.
Okay, that was weird. Especially coming from my husband. Okay, I was in Italy from the 1st through the 9th, but technically the 10th because of the travel day. And can I just say...
Oh my gosh, Yas Queen, tell us about Italy. Tell us all about it.
It
Go,
was
girl.
amazing.
You go, boss bitch.
Italy was beautiful. Traveling was horrendous. So I've decided that I'm going to make a shiz ton of money so I can have my own private jet.
Woo!
And y'all can come with me because, like, traveling through JFK was horrendous.
I don't doubt that.
But Italy was beautiful. It was gorgeous. Went to Tuscany, went to Rome, Sicily.
Man, rub it in, why don't you?
Yeah, it was beautiful. And then I got home, got sick, like couldn't move, just slept for Friday and Saturday, and then went to Vegas on Sunday. I had a fever that broke on Saturday, went to Vegas on Sunday to the Con Expo, and apparently got all my coworkers sick because we stayed in an Airbnb. They're fine. They're fine, though. Everything's fine.
They're fine with their man colds.
I was over it by Sunday or Monday. Anyway, yeah, you, sir, man cold. And I got my husband sick. But now I'm back.
Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome. Now you have better immunity because of me.
Oh, thanks, baby.
You're welcome.
He's so strong now.
Uh-huh. See?
All right, Mr. Bryson, what's new with you, sir?
Is me. Nothing super new lately. Last week I just have been very busy with school. I've had a lot of projects and assignments that I've had to be working on lately. And then something that I do think is kind of exciting, though, is I started production on a short film that I'm doing for one of my classes. It's called Personal Cinema. And so we have to make essay films. So they're not exactly like typical storyline films. You can have a story to them, but they're more about like delving out a concept, and they're more like mixed media kind of stuff. And so
more art than
more of an
actual story.
Yeah, more of an artsy type film rather than a narrative driven one. But yeah, we started filming yesterday actually. So
How exciting.
yeah.
Well, you guys are really excited about stuff.
Out of curiosity, can you tell us like about the concept for your short film that you're doing?
Yeah. So the short film that I wanted to do, so I had this idea of making like a film about like isolation, feeling alone, even when you're around other people. And I decided to tie it in with being deaf because my dad is deaf. And so I wanted to bring that in because I feel like he very often, even like around family and friends, he feels very isolated from everybody. And so that's like kind of a concept that I wanted to bring to light and have both imagery centered around that as well as like the sound design being used with that as well.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
sick.
are we going to be able to see it?
Yes.
Cool.
Sweet.
I was going to demand it either way, so.
Good deal.
That's the mama bear coming out. I'm like, show me what your project you're so proud of. I want to see it.
We love projects. They're fun.
Got such good mom energy about you.
How about you,
Rianne.
Mr. Alakai? What's new with you,
Thanks.
sir?
Well, first of all, my new favorite shirt came in the mail this week, and I'm sporting it now. So this is my new favorite shirt.
Okay, what
What is it?
I saw it, but
It's just someone dancing in
It's in
the
like
neon.
it's in like
waves.
infrared.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
I forgot the term for a second.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like, oh yeah, this is proof of like ghosts.
I was gonna say, I was like, that looks like something I would see like as proof of them finding aliens. Just
Yeah,
like one of those
right.
like infrared pictures. They're like, we saw this being.
Yeah. No, like I've seen like a lot of the artists that I really like Tash Sultana, Spencer Stewart from the band Camino. They all have this shirt, and I was just like, I thought it's the coolest shirt I've ever seen. I want it.
You're like, I
So
want one.
I had to do some digging for it, and I found it, and I was like, I'm buying it. So
Sick.
it finally came this week. Anyways, that's not the most exciting part of the week, though. Well, actually, yeah, it is. So the protest for the whole Jeffrey Holland commencement speech at SU took
Yeah.
place. I did not know about it,
Yeah.
so I didn't know.
What?
I don't know there was a protest this week. I thought the protest was going to be taking place at graduation.
okay,
but-
wait a minute. So people were protesting Jeffrey R. Holland coming and
Yeah,
speaking at
Did you?
SUU?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know about the whole thing that's going on, Rion?
No, I've been out of the
Oh.
country. I have no idea what's happening.
Okay, so was it last weekend? It was last weekend, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
last
this past
weekend.
weekend.
Okay, so this past weekend, SUU announced that at the graduation ceremony for this semester, the speaker will be Jeffrey R. Holland. And because of all the things that Jeffrey Holland has said surrounding the LGBTQ plus community, a lot of SUU students have been like really not accepting of it. There was a petition that was sent out to sign for him to not come, which at this point has reached 18,000 signatures.
Which is way more than the student population
Yep.
of SUU.
Okay,
Yep,
so
and
but how is that possible? Like, how? I don't understand why people who aren't going to be there can petition for him, like who aren't
alumni,
students. Oh.
So
the,
alumni and people who are supporting.
a lot of
cause.
professors even have signed it too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they held a listening and speaking meeting for people to come and voice their opinions to President Benson about, advocating whether or not they want to have Holland speak at the commencement. There were a lot of people that spoke in favor for him to not come, and everybody that spoke had great input. They made great points, and everybody that spoke in favor for him to come and speak basically just bore their testimony. At least for the times that I showed up for. Which I mean, like if you want to believe in your religion, like that's your thing, but.
And those hearings went on like 9 hours.
So yeah,
I think
so
they
Oh,
went
wow.
long.
the first one was only 4 hours. It went from 12 to 4, and then the last one was 4 to whenever. I don't remember how long.
It was
that one
almost
went.
9, I think, is when that last one went. It was like 8:45 when it ended.
Did you end up going to that one?
I did not. I didn't realize it gone that long, or else I totally would
Yeah,
have gone right after work.
I only went for the first 2 hours for the first one because then I had to go to class, and either way, by that point, I was like, okay, we're talking in circles, and everyone is just saying the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I only stayed for the first 2 hours, and that was fine. But so that took place this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if SUU didn't do anything and just kept Holland as a speaker, but I would be very let down and disappointed. So,
Okay, can I ask why though?
yeah. So honestly, Rian, I just don't want a religious leader speaking at my commencement. That's really it. So,
Because the SUU technically is not an affiliate of the LDS Church.
yeah,
It's-
and the school has done an amazing job at and I've seen this in the last 4 years that I've been at the school. They've done an amazing job at keeping church and state separate.
They're
And
very neutral.
Yeah, SUU is a very neutral school, and I feel like this kind of spits on that. So, yeah, I know a lot of people were compromising, we don't want Jeffrey Holland speaking at it, but we would be okay with someone like Uchtdorf, and I was like, I get the whole compromise, but could you imagine the headlines?
I still wouldn't want a religious speaker speaking.
Yeah, and also, could you imagine the headlines of a Utah university says no to the church?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? Anyways, also super busy with school. I feel like all my projects have been like, hey, let's all be due at the same time.
Oh, for real.
So like
It's driving me nuts.
last week and then this week, and it's funny because it's like people that I talk to pretty regularly. They're like, hey, like where have you been? What have you been up to? And I'm like,
School.
I've just been busy, man. Like I've got shit to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah.
I can finally tell other majors. I'm like, hey, communications does stuff. We're not just sitting around doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because that's what it feels like being a communications major. You get it very easy for homework a lot of times, but then you have projects that usually take a lot longer.
Yeah. To be fair, a lot of the projects that I have done, I've actually enjoyed doing. Like all the stuff that we do for radio, I love doing that.
That's
like,
so much fun.
I'm like, Ryan comes out with a project, and I'm like, what is it? Tell me what I got to do. So, anyways, that's pretty much all I got. So.
What's new with you, Jacob?
Well, I'm definitely feeling a lot better, although my voice isn't 100% yet. I'm probably somewhere around 90% right now, which is awesome.
Just tell yourself you're at 100 and you will be. Mind over matter.
Drink lots of alcohol, too. It'll
Lots
kill
of
it.
water. Lots of, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I just like worked this week and, tried to recover as best I could while making a paycheck.
Yeah.
But I did take, a few days off here and there to try to get through these last couple of weeks. I was able to get some content out. I was able to get, the podcasts, the clips, and I was able to do a couple myself for next week. So that's exciting. Goodness. Yeah, nothing really that new. Just chugging along, making content, looking for new jobs, doing a little bit of writing here and there, which is fun. And doing the whole podcast thing. We just figured out that for whatever reason the mono is not working on my microphone, which is strange. So I apologize for people who have stereo and hearing me just in the left side of their head. I'll have to fix that.
Yeah.
Whether we have to pan it or
Do we just
get
have to buy a
cable.
new microphone?
Honestly, I would love some new microphones and a new.
I said a new microphone.
No,
Jacob,
no,
use
the
some,
microphones are
plural.
fine, even though the two live microphones are very hot. But that's just because they're not using stereo and they're dynamic microphones, not condenser microphones. So, but yeah, I mean things are going good. But really excited to talk about these topics today. So let's head it on over to you, Mr. Bryson, and we'll get started.
Cool. Well, first topic, I kind of wanted to bring up just because I went and saw 2 movies in the theater this last week. And I see movies in the theater a lot. Thank God for Megaplex points, because it means I pay for the ticket, but not the popcorn and everything. So that's great.
Nice.
But so I went and saw 2 movies. I saw Shazam 2 and I saw Scream 6. And so both of those movies were sequels. And Scream 6 is basically the second movie in a soft reboot. Reboot? Trequel. And
Trequel?
Trilogy, whatever, it doesn't matter. You guys get what I'm saying.
More or less.
And so I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts on all these like sequels and reboots that keep coming out, because I feel like that has been especially the case with movies lately. It's any spin-off, it's a reboot, it's a sequel, it's anything that's tied to something that has come before and there's not as much original stuff. So I was curious what your guys' thoughts were on all these sequels.
Short answer, we're getting way too many sequels and Hollywood is running out of ideas. The fact that they're coming out with a new Indiana Jones movie,
I don't think they're
makes
running
me
out of
annoyed.
ideas. I think they're just being lazy because they want to go with what they know has been successful in the past and can be money makers.
That's true
I don't
too.
think, I
But
don't
at-
want to say lazy, but I definitely would say they're playing it safe.
Yeah,
for sure.
they know what's going to make them money.
Yeah, I'm not excited for the Indiana Jones movie at all, if I'm being honest.
Funny enough, I've only seen one of the Indiana Jones and I don't really care.
Oh my God, we saw the preview for, or the trailer for The Flash. Yo,
That's going to be the first.
it looks really good.
It does actually look pretty good. I'll go see that. But
I'll go see it because
I
it has
might go see
freaking
it.
Michael Keaton again.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. That was the Batman that I knew.
I think so. Stuff like that. So, like with the Flash, we're getting Michael Keaton's Batman again. We're getting like other characters from other
Like
universes.
Kara?
I'm excited for her. I think her Supergirl.
Supergirl.
I guess it's
Supergirl.
Supergirl, yeah.
I think she's gonna do phenomenal. I'm hopeful anyway, but just because I love the whole concept of Supergirl. I've never seen the show, but
Have you
I
never
like the-
seen? Have you ever seen the movie from the 80s?
No.
Bruh. It's so,
Watch it.
It is so 80s.
It is so 80s. You've gotta
Bryson's
watch
not going to
it.
say if it's good or bad. He's like, it's 80s.
It's 80s.
It is total 80s.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but like we're getting like, it's not necessarily like a sequel for Michael Keaton, but like, I enjoy that kind of stuff because it's like it's a little bit
Spin-offs?
of it's a little bit of a nostalgia feel, but you can see it as its own thing, you know. Or
wasn't this the first Flash movie that's come out?
Yeah,
Yep.
like
It'll be the
dedicated
first.
to the
Because
Flash.
they did
yeah.
a Flash series. They did like 4 or 5 seasons of that, which was
more than that, I think.
I think they're on
mediocre.
6, I think.
Oh, it's still
like-
going. It's still
I'm
alive. and well?
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Seasons 1 and 2 of the Flash were good.
I'm
They
gonna
were.
I'm
They
gonna
were
fact check
solid.
it. I'm looking it up. The
Yeah.
Flash TV
Yeah,
series.
the third season was just like, what is this? And then just kind of
Um,
like with all the back and forth and
Yeah,
So-
it became too complicated.
You have to be really careful
Ah.
with sequels because, like, a movie will come out, it'll be phenomenal.
You guys,
people will
it
love
had-
it, and
8 or no, the last season was this year
Oh,
for
wow.
the Flash.
8 seasons.
So no, it started
Really?
in 2014 and then
Uh-huh.
it says that it ends in 2023.
Holy crap.
So
didn't realize it was
there are
going that
9
long.
seasons.
Oh, that's too many.
In fact, so it,
Even The Walking Dead had too many seasons.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, The Walking
Supernatural had too many seasons.
Oh, my gosh.
Dead. Super. Oh my gosh. Okay, can we talk about South Park has had how many? Like 26
Family
seasons?
Guy.
Oh
yeah,
geez.
South Park's still going.
The Simpsons.
Simpsons, yep.
Yeah, but those are like
Those are ones that you can kind of keep making and just coming up with new concepts.
because they kind of
They
go
go
off
off
of
of
like current events.
current
Yeah.
events and
pop
current
culture
social.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can just
Yeah.
keep adding more things.
Yeah,
exactly.
because they
Or
kind of just
in
run
The
with
They'll
it.
never run
Simpsons-
out of.
In the
Okay.
Simpsons case, they can predict the future.
We are all
For real.
talking all over each other, and we gotta chill.
I know I want to do. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Anyway,
But like sequels can be tough because like a movie will come out, it'll be phenomenal, it'll get great ratings and everything. Producers and directors and studios will see that, they'll be like, "Wow, that's a moneymaker. You're approved to do a sequel." And a lot of times, directors and writers, they'll plan for only one movie. They don't plan to
Yeah.
go for like a long run. So it's kind of like they have to pull something out that makes sense, and it doesn't always land.
And what's kind of hard is like the stuff that is like planned to go out longer doesn't always get picked up
Yeah.
for that much. Like Stranger Things, they planned to do 5 seasons and they're doing 5 seasons. But had they not been picked up again after season 1, it would have just ended.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely something that it's kind of hard to do from the beginning because you don't know how audiences are going to react.
Yeah.
Like I think a good example of like that shows like both sides is like the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, because that main series was planned out completely. They knew what they wanted from the whole series. The spin-off, The
Korra.
Legend of Korra, they wrote the first season and then people wanted more, and so they had to write seasons 2 and 3 afterwards.
Yeah.
And so those ones, like, people feel more divided on because it wasn't planned out completely, but that's because they didn't know where it was going to go. They didn't
Or if it was going to be picked up after the first season.
They actually just thought it was going to be a 1-season spinoff.
Yeah. So it also definitely depends on the quality of the writer, because the writers for the Avatar series, they're brilliant. Like they find ways to kind of like the way that they write is they make lessons for kids essentially, which brilliant. Like it's the episode in Avatar: The Last Airbender where they teach Aang about how chakras work. That's such a good way to teach kids how chakras work physically. Like But like with Korra, they kind of already knew what they were doing, and like so writing the second season was like they did a good job because they're just quality writers. With like seasons 3 and 4, they kind of left 3 on that cliffhanger where Korra ends in like a, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but
I've seen Legend of Korra. It's really good.
But like they kind of leave it on a cliffhanger, so they kind of have to keep writing. But I think they plan for 3 and 4 to be together, right? I think, but yeah, it definitely depends on the quality of the writer. Because like the Star Wars sequel, right? The sequel trilogy, it was not great because they kept changing the director. So they
changed the director, they changed the writers. There was a lot of studio interference.
Yep. Yeah,
it wasn't
a lot. It wasn't the artist.
It was a shit show.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was an artist being free to be an artist.
Yeah, because they started off with J.J. Abrams, which hilariously directed Star Trek as well. But he had like some good concepts that they could have made a trilogy off of, but then they kept taking him out of production.
Yeah.
And so it didn't feel connected because everything kept getting switched around.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is terrible production because you should have your whole team be on the same level. Whereas they're just like, no, we need to make sure it fits our brand. I'm like, just take more risks.
Especially because like the third movie, not The Last Jedi.
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, like I remember seeing that movie, and it kind of felt like J.J. Abrams was kind of trying to clean up Rian Johnson's mess. Like,
yeah.
John Wick. I'm cool with having more John Wicks because it's just Keanu Reeves shooting a bunch of bad guys.
Yeah,
it's not hard to build off of.
It's action porn.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
It's like
it's Keanu Reeves.
That's like what Fast and Furious is. It's car porn for everybody.
Oh my gosh!
Because they will.
Because it's all about the family.
It's all about family. And those movies, I'm not gonna lie, I love that they keep making sequels because they get so dumber every single one.
I haven't even seen any of others other than the first one.
I think after 4 is where they get like good. Because they just decide, screw it, and do whatever they want. They use like cars to do anything. They plan like this elaborate heist at one point to break into a safe. They end up deciding, nah, screw that plan. They just drag the safe out of the bank with cars. In one of them, they fight a submarine with cars and win. The last one, they shot a car into space with people in it. It's just like those movies, every sequel, it's like, what can we do to top the absurdity of the last one? And I think that's the best way for those movies.
Yeah. I've never seen a single one either, but
I think a really good example of what you guys are saying, this phenomena of, they create a film, which is supposed to just be a one and done, and they try to piece together some kind of sequels after it. I think Pirates of the Caribbean is probably one of the best examples because the first one was such a cultural phenomenon. And they're just oh shit,
the first
we
one
gotta
is one of
get
the best
some of
movies
these
ever
out.
made. The Curse of the Black Pearl is one of the best movies ever made in my opinion.
And such a great score. Like I literally bought that
Hans
album
Zimmer
when it came out.
Great score, great costume design.
Yeah.
And Johnny Depp was awesome.
Johnny Depp.
He created Jack Sparrow himself. Like,
and then he got like when they let him go because of the whole damn thing. I was just like,
to be fair, like we need to be done with the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, agreed.
We
5
need to be done
was
with them.
not it.
4, 5, however many they made after that. No,
I think The Matrix is another great example.
Yeah, and
first one, cultural phenomenon, 93, 95, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then they slapped together 2 movies to follow it up, and it was like it was a completely different universe.
Aren't they making another one?
They already did.
They did.
And it was terrible.
I haven't seen it.
Wait,
hot.
they took another Matrix. They made another Matrix
Matrix
movie.
4, yeah.
Mhm.
It's been out for like
You
a
wanna
year now.
watch it?
A year and a half.
You'll be
No.
sorry.
So
When did
yeah,
Sorry.
ever
Because the
since
two that followed weren't that great. And the Matrix.
I've watched
was it
the original, and
Resurrections
that's
or-
it.
I saw the very first one for the first time like a year ago, and then because I told you about it, Jacob, and he was like, and you were like, yeah, you don't need to watch the second or the third.
You're like,
and I was
"You're
like,
good."
okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. And I've watched the first one. I love it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing movie. But-
I literally watched that in film like 20 times when it came out that summer. I was at my father's house, like visiting him, which we did every summer. We would hang out with him for, a month or two on end.
Mm-hmm.
And we we kept renting that film because I just kept wanting to watch it and
a good
watch
movie.
all of the.
I think you did it to be rebellious a little bit too, because that's not something your mom would ever let you watch.
Yeah, probably.
That's one thing I could talk
When-
about. Matrix should not be rated R.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you watch
yeah.
the fourth one, Jacob?
Sadly, yes.
When?
It was a while ago when it first came out. I think I watched it while you were doing something. I don't remember. We can watch it together if you want. You'll
No,
be
it's
very,
fine.
very sad. You'll be very, very sad. It's worse than the two sequels that followed.
I
up
think I'm
the
just
first
more
one.
upset that you are watching things without me,
I would probably
which is completely irrational. But that's
I would
We watch
probably
things with
watch
actually all the time.
I would probably watch the second and the third just out of pure curiosity.
Yeah, just
But-
realize it will not feel like the first film.
I would have to go into it just like
Yeah.
these are gonna suck. Like I would have to set the bar very low. But
Yeah, set the bar low. You'll be like, yeah, this is like just below maybe average.
yeah.
But the first one was like a 9 or a 10.
Oh,
So-
you want to talk about sequels that keep being done and we need to be done with them? Is the freaking Marvel movies. Like, I'm sorry. Like I know they're not going anywhere, but like you've seen one, you've seen them all.
That's true. They're all
And-
very formulaic.
The only one that was like I would rate like a 9 out of 10 is the very first Iron Man. Like the rest of them are either 8 or under.
we saw a preview
Yeah.
for the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
That one
Volume
was
I,
good.
three.
I do want to see that only because it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's Chris Pratt.
I
like
love
we
Chris
love Chris
yeah,
Pratt, and I know
yeah.
it's a Disney, and like we're all like, ugh. We're like so done with like really bad Disney movies for like ever since after like Endgame.
Yeah.
Wish yeah, buddy.
They really did go for quantity over quality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they really
for
did.
sure.
I'd rather we have like a couple movies, if that, released a year, like maybe like one or two, and have them like spaced out a lot more so they can work on them.
Yeah, because it used to be like, oh, we'll release one Marvel movie a year.
Now
Like
they
that's
release
how,
like 3.
yeah. Now they like 3 or 4
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, one a year would be like at Christmas time. Would they would be bangers like every time?
Oh, yeah.
Because then
They'd be bangers.
they're putting a lot of like time, money,
Oh,
and
yeah.
resources into them. I know they
Oh,
do
yeah.
already, but like they could put so much more
Mhm.
effort into just focusing on one project at a time with Marvel.
Well, yeah, because
So.
then you'd have like the directors you want, the writers you want, instead of having them all, spread out
Yeah.
over so many different projects.
Like remember phases 1 and 2? It was like one year it was Iron Man, the next year it was
Yeah, it was
Thor,
usually one a year.
and then like once every 4 or 5 years they came out with the next Avengers movie.
Mhm.
That was fine because you felt like I remember I literally grew up. Like the very first Iron Man movie came out when I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old. And then the Avengers came out when I was like 14, 15. Like that was amazing.
So you kind of grew up with it, like
Yeah.
progressing through the canon.
Yeah, and by the
Like
by the time Ultron came out, I think I was 16 or 17. Civil War came out, I think when I was also 17 or something like that. But yeah, 17 or 18, I don't remember. But by that time, that's when DC started to come in, and they were like, "Hey, this
And they
guy
just- and they
Clark
just-
Kent."
And they just come in and they're trying to be Marvel. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but you can't, because DC's not that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're two different companies, two different thought processes when it comes to, the heroes and the anti-heroes, the protagonists and the antagonists, and it's just kind of funny when they first started to, reboot, the DCU. They were just so bad
well, I
for
mean,
so long, and now
Batman
they're
v
like,
Superman.
oh god.
Okay,
so bad.
The extended version for Batman v Superman isn't good, but it's better.
Oh,
But
I
that's
think
only-
interesting.
I think that way about the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. It's
On
better.
HBO?
Yeah, it's better. It's not worth 4 hours.
I loved it. I thought it's definitely like one of those 2-part movies. Like I could see it being done in 2 parts. Like the first 2 hours, that's one thing, and then they bring back Superman, and then like the rest of the movie is like that's the sequel. But
Can we honestly stop doing 4-hour movies? Like, what the hell?
Agreed.
yeah, I don't
Can we
like
stop that?
I don't.
I even
like,
don't like most like them being like 2.5 hours or over
Yeah.
2. I think
Yeah.
most should still be under 2.
I agree because I don't like that we're doing more and more of those because I feel like a lot of studios are seeing that and they're like, oh, like it's totally okay to do that, and now it's becoming normalized.
Not every movie deserves 3 hours.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one movie that I could say, all right, let's do 4+ hours of this.
Yeah.
Nah.
Like
Even
even
in
Lord
the-
of the Rings. Like
2.5
as much as we
hours-
love Lord of the Rings from Peter Jackson.
It could have done better as a TV series than a.
Yeah. Because there's just so much information and so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore that they
Yeah.
kind of missed out on, but
Yeah.
crap, what was I gonna say? 2.5 hours at max. Dune,
Yeah.
Bryson, did you see Dune?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It was a great movie. It was only 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 hours max. That's fine. The last Avatar movie did not need to be 3 hours.
Nope.
It was very visually
Nope.
pleasing.
It doesn't even need to exist. I'm sorry.
It wasn't
I did not
even-
like
I
it.
mean-
I
That's
didn't
it.
like it.
I can respect that.
I can respect the CGI, but as
Oh,
far as
yeah.
like the 3D, honestly, like I'm just so over 3D.
Oh,
like
3D's just a
like
gimmick.
yeah, 3D for
It's-
me was like they did that with Jaws,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is just okay. Like it's not like enhancing the film or making it more scary or more interesting. Or
It's
more
impressive.
pleasing.
Yeah.
The
that's-
technology is very interesting, but other than that, it doesn't help with the storytelling or anything.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
I haven't seen
immerse
it
you.
used in a way that actually benefits the story.
Yeah.
It's only ever used just as a gimmick.
Yeah. Look how cool we made this scene. It's like
And it's usually an afterthought,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like it's like they do it in post. It's not something that they're filming and they're like, yeah, let's do this in 3D. No, it's usually afterwards. They're like, oh, we could make this scene. We could make these scenes in 3D. Let's do that. And we can make even more money releasing it in
Yeah.
3D.
So, really quick, what's the actor's name that plays Jake Sully in Avatar? Because I'm not gonna lie, he did a great job. He did a great job in the first and the second
Sam
movie.
Worthington.
Sam Worthington. He's a very forgettable actor. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like he does a good job. In the things that I've seen him in, I like him a lot. But for some reason, he's just a forgettable actor. I don't know what it is, but
I think him and Zoe were a lot better in Way of the Water,
Yeah.
like in comparison
Yeah.
to the first film.
I-
Like I feel like they were
100%.
more consistent in the acting.
They're
Like,
more established.
it was more established. Yeah, they weren't like trying to like because like in the first film you can tell like.
Well, it's easy
when
when the
Zoe
storyline
is-
is the same.
that,
Well, when Zoe was speaking, like sometimes she
Sorry.
would speak with like an accent,
Yeah.
and then sometimes she would just speak like perfectly straight like English, and you're like, this is taking me away from the character. Does she have an accent or she doesn't have an accent when she
Yeah.
speaks
Yeah.
English? Like, help us out here. And that's where I really liked about the second one. I feel like the acting was a lot better.
Yeah, because they
It's
made
just the
it.
story
They're just like,
was
oh, he understands
terrible.
all the language now, so let's just make them talk normal.
Exactly.
yeah, it's one of those stories that like just like the first one, like you're kind of there for the first half, and you're like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really take off until halfway through, but by then you're already asleep. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
anyways.
Definitely.
I think that's why I've been like lately on like a horror kick.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because horror movies are almost always under 2 hours.
My guy.
And I've noticed the pacing seems so much better on that because they're not trying to fill time because everything is just like immediately right after the other.
Right.
And I think that's why I've been on that kind of kick lately. I'm like, I don't want filler time in my movie. That's
Yeah.
even in like TV. I hate when that happens. That's why I like more of the straight to streaming type shows now, because they're less filler episodes usually.
Yeah.
But like having that in like a movie sucks, because you'll be sitting there and you're like, something should be happening.
Yeah.
This scene has reached where it's reached the point and we should go past it now.
Yeah.
Like
So-
like in
Dude.
some of these animes where like they have to have like every season has to have like a beach episode, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, why? But they're fun. But it's like, why? You know, it's not progressing the story.
Yeah. Hey, Bryson, you want to get into horror? Just hang out with me more. I'll get you into
I love horror.
I'll get you into like The Conjuring, the
I've watched The
Insidious
Conjuring.
movies.
I've watched a lot of horror. I've just
Yeah.
been lately watching them a lot. So.
You ever watch the Hellraiser movies?
I have not. That's what series that I actually haven't seen.
I'll get you into those movies. They're pretty good.
Dark City is a very interesting kind of gothic like horror film.
I need to watch that
Dark
one.
City.
I think
Can't
it was called Dark City. It was back in the 2000s, I think.
Bryson,
But
I feel like we should like start moving on. But
Oh yeah.
what are your thoughts on the whole sequel thing?
I don't know. So I'm like a big movie fan, and I like continuous storylines. However, I think to a point is where I like them. I think usually a trilogy is good enough for me. Even like the like requels where they're soft reboots, and so you like relate back to the original trilogy, but you make something new. Like I really like the Jurassic World movies because they relate back to the original, but they're doing their own story mostly.
Yeah.
I do like that kind of stuff, but I think when they're taking it out of proportion just because they're gonna make money,
Yeah.
I don't really care at that point. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it, but it's not pulling me in like what the original did.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm a little bit back and forth on those.
The only thing, like, I like sequels and stuff, like if it's based off of an actual book that was written.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was a story that was written ages before the movies came out. And I looked forward to those. Harry Potter, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, the Game of Thrones, those
were hit and miss.
they were a hit when they were following the books that J.R.R. Martin was writing, but then when they surpassed him, because they
Yeah.
didn't get the stories, like then
They had to.
it all went.
They didn't have any
Yeah.
content to really relate off of.
Yeah, they kind
Yeah.
of just had to make up their own stuff because he wasn't releasing the books.
Yeah. So when it comes to sequels, what I really like is stories that end with a little bit of controversy. So like it's a story that you either love the ending or you really hate it. If you see the ending and you're just kind of like, yeah, like whatever, then
You're like, yeah, that makes sense.
it's like I'm not really looking forward to anything else, you know?
That's why I
Like-
don't particularly care much about like Disney stuff all
Yeah.
that much. I will watch them. I think they're entertaining, but I think a lot of them they leave off and they don't give you anything to think about. You're
Yeah.
like, everyone had their happy ending. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's kind of boring. I don't want them to just have a happy ending. Even if it's a happy ending, I want to think, is there something else there? Like even
Yeah.
if they don't continue it with other movies, I want to like be able to think about it later.
Yeah. Like, is there another story worth telling?
Exactly.
Like how many Disney movies, how many Pixar movies have you seen that have good sequels? Because Toy Story is the only one that I can think of because they have stories to tell. I never saw the fourth one, but Toy Story 2 was a phenomenal story. Toy Story 3 was also a great story. Because there was a story to be told.
I honestly
Like-
don't remember any of the Toy Story sequels.
Lion King 1.5. What the heck was
Well,
that?
yeah, that's stupid.
Those were
Lion
like
King
straight
2?
any
or the
straight
Little
to D-
Mermaid 2, or like
Straight to
any
DVD
of that.
or
Yeah, the
straight
straight to
VHS.
DVD.
Oh! Did you guys know that there were plans to make a Forrest Gump 2?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I didn't
Yes.
know that until recently.
I literally that came up on my TikTok today, like right before you guys showed up.
I
They
was
were
reading an
talking about
article
it.
about it. Like,
Yeah, apparently they had it all ready to go, and then 9/11 happened.
yes, Yeah.
And they were like, well,
Oh
this
my
is
god.
this is all irrelevant now.
But like
yeah.
the story that they had planned, like, because like they released like the story outline and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was dark. Like, I would have loved to see. I understand why they didn't go with it.
Like the
but,
O.J.
like,
Simpson thing.
Oh my God.
And the bomber, the Oklahoma City bomber.
Yeah, it was dark, but like I would have loved to seen it. I understand why they didn't go with it, but that would have been amazing. Oh my god.
I think we just need to have more people that plan for at least a sequel.
Yeah.
If not, like, prepare for the trilogy. Like, if you have
Yeah.
a very expansive universe with lots of great characters, like, I really do believe that they need to, like, really write that shit out, especially for TV shows. Like,
Oh, well,
if you're
agreed,
gonna if you're gonna greenlight a TV show, you should at least write out the first 3 seasons, or at least write out the first 2 and have an outline for the third.
When it comes to storytelling, you kind of want to start with your ending, right?
Yeah.
Because you have an end goal of like, well, this is where our characters
That's a
are
great
going
point.
to.
It's a great point.
This is
Okay.
the story of how our characters ended up here. We're going. So,
Great example. Schitt's Creek.
I never saw Schitt's Creek.
Oh
but
my
I-
gosh.
I see clips of it on my TikTok. Hilarious.
Schitt's Creek is amazing, and they only did 6 seasons, even though like their fans were begging them to do more. He's like, no, it's done. We told the story we wanted to tell.
Yeah.
We're
We need
done.
to have
and
more-
it was so amazing.
We need to have more series like that. We need more limited series, and we need more series that are planned out for 3 seasons and just end.
Yeah.
You know, that's
I think
that's
3
definitely where I'm at
seasons
with
is
that.
usually like a good stopping point.
Yeah.
I agree.
three to
'cause it's-
5.
It's a
'Cause
sweet.
all- 'cause
It's a
it's-
sweet spot.
It's almost like having that beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
It's 3 acts essentially over 3 seasons, and I think that's a smart way to do it.
You know what show did what I really enjoyed that did 3 seasons was C.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the 3 seasons for C.
Oh,
Yeah.
You don't have Apple TV Plus,
No.
Bryson. It's one
I
of
could
those.
get it on my TV. But
You should get it and watch C. It is a good
see, like
show.
the word see.
yeah,
Yeah.
SEE.
It is a damn good show.
It really is. I was kind of pissed at the end because
I like the
Jacob
ending.
watched he watched the 3rd season without me.
No.
So I basically walked in on the last like 15 minutes.
No.
Yeah, and I was so
Yeah, she
pissed. I'm
did.
like, I'm not even gonna watch the 3rd season because I'm so pissed right now. I don't know what's happening, but guys,
Which is fair.
It's probably
It's
one of
fair.
my favorite TV shows. Like, easily in my top 5 favorite TV shows. I'm not sure if I would put it. Actually, maybe it might be in my top 3. I don't know. I've never really thought about my top 3 before. So.
you know what
Yeah,
was a
that's
good
fair.
limited series was Home.
Never saw that.
Home was that was a pretty good.
That
It's
was
with
so
Hilary
good.
Swank. That was a pretty good.
Um,
That's a pretty solid.
I mean, and it could probably
series.
go another season, but like the way it was ended, it was perfect. It left the ending
Oh,
for imagination and
yeah. If you have like 4+ seasons or books or movies, 4+, like it better be like a damn good story worth telling. And my mind better be blown. Like if 3, I feel like is a sweet spot.
yeah,
Like, yeah. So
I agree.
Yeah.
anyway,
So heading on to the next topic.
Yeah,
Is that-
let's do it.
I think
Okay,
we're all
moving
kind of
on.
stretching that one out.
We've kind
like a
of
lot.
reached to that one. Okay.
we all love movies. What can I talk about? What can I say?
Yeah. So the other topic that I mainly wanted to talk about is this last Thursday, the TikTok CEO, Shou Chu, went to a congressional hearing for the U.S. where they kind of just grilled him on a bunch of questions. Like,
Yeah.
well, to
'cause-
be fair, they've grilled all the other
Yeah, Mark
Definitely.
social
Zuckerberg
media
and
CEOs. So I
Yeah.
mean, it was only a
Tik-
matter of time before they
TikTok
did that.
had to be.
government's starting to catch up. They're usually about 10 to 20 years behind. So they're just finally
but are they catching up because the questions they asked were so stupid?
I know. The
Some of
questions
them were
that I saw
very
them.
stupid. I completely agree.
There were some good questions, but so many of them were dumb. And
Like
but anyway,
like the eye dilation question. I was like, what? Like what? Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing that kind of that pisses me off quite a bit. Is these are a lot of congressmen and women that don't really like. the questions that some of them ask, it comes off as if they don't really know much about what they're talking about.
They don't.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, they're spending so much time on trying to ban an app that has given a lot of businesses and content creators like a chance and a resource. Like, Periodic Review uses TikTok quite a bit.
Trying to anyway.
And like, Bryson, you use TikTok for your podcast.
I do. I use it for my podcast and my main stuff.
I use it every once in a while for my music. I haven't in like 2 years, but I need to get on that again.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of businesses and content creators have used this platform as a resource in order to like thrive. And our Congress is so focused on banning this app, when if they really cared about their mental health, why aren't you focusing on improving the education systems and equipping kids on how to handle this stuff properly? Like, why don't you focus on like improving the health
That's a fair
care
assessment. Yeah.
It's so, refraining from using the F word, it's so stupid. You don't give a shit about us. You care more about banning an app more than you care about like improving things that are actually going. Like, what the?
Well,
it makes me so mad.
Also to be fair, like, it wasn't really until like the last few years where people were really like diving in and trying to figure out what the terms of services are for that particular app.
Yeah.
And finding that it's
because it takes them that long to read.
Yeah, because like most people don't read it. Like, they just scroll all the way down to the bottom, hit the check mark, and hit accept.
Well,
Nobody
it's a
reads
giant,
it.
like,
there's a lot of words. There's a lot of verbiage, especially
because
like
it's legal documents.
speech. So it's like, who's going to sit there and read it and try to figure out what it means?
Yeah.
Well, I think the big concern with the government is that it's a big spyware, basically, for the communist.
Well, to be fair, there has been a lot of issues with, collecting, selling, and utilizing metadata, and this is something that has been going on with Twitter. This is something that's been going on with Facebook and
Meta.
Instagram. Like they're not the only ones that have been doing it, but it's definitely the first time that they actually have put it in a terms of service and were completely transparent about what they were tracking. But this is just the first time that this is where I think that people are either catching up or they've just ignored it completely until as of late. But that's something to kind of remember, that the whole buying and selling metadata has been around, since the inception of social media.
That just comes as a result of the internet. Everything is doing that. Google, social media, everything. If you're on the internet, your data is being sold and collected.
Yeah, right.
And I think a big thing about this is TikTok has been trying to be very transparent about what they do and what they collect. And I think that has brought up concerns because people now know, but they don't know that about all other platforms, like other social medias and like Google and search engines and things like that. And so people kind of target TikTok because they've flat out said that they do it. And so then people get a little freaked out because it's not a US based company.
Right.
So it is not exactly regulated to the same level. Let's be real. The social medias that are American based, like Twitter and Meta, are not really regulated all that much. Social media isn't.
No, because they donate to all the frickin' politicians.
Exactly.
A lot of lobbying.
Yeah. And I think a big thing is that, so TikTok, with how fast it has exploded in its user base, because there is now like over 1 billion users worldwide, and it is very popular for ad space to be put on there. So not a lot of advertisers really care about using other platforms because it's not being used to the same level that TikTok is. So more than likely, there has been some lobbying going on to try and ban TikTok to eliminate that competition.
Right.
Yeah, Zuckerberg.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's definitely happening for sure. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were smart, they would try to kill the competition. I mean, especially with how many billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that are losing right now with Meta and Facebook and Instagram. Like, they're hemorrhaging money. They're losing so many users over to those platforms.
And I think with those platforms too, they are not as transparent as TikTok is trying to be. And like, so I believe on Apple, there is a page that you can see that lets you see what your apps are tracking. And it will show you like a detailed like list of what they are tracking and they will use. And TikTok, it ends. The list ends. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google doesn't end. It eventually has a point where it's just like other. We're just tracking other things that you don't really need to know. And I think it's that kind of stuff that makes this so controversial, is because although they're targeting TikTok, we should be worrying about all social media in general with how much data is being collected and sold.
Yeah.
Or with just how the algorithms and how it's messing with the development of our minds and brains and stuff.
I think this is a problem for parents. If you're worried about how your kids are developing and how they are addicted and spending too much time, take it away.
Well, the problem is all the parents are addicted too. So
the thing, like, these are platforms that provide like a resource for parents, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't have to pay attention to my kid. All I have to do is give them a phone, and they'll scroll mindlessly for hours.
It's the poor man's nanny.
Yeah, I guess so. No, but like, that's what I'm saying. Though, like
before TikTok, it was YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, actually, ridiculousness was like TikTok before it was TikTok, just on MTV. But like that's what I'm saying. Maybe instead of trying to ban the app, educate kids and like maybe change the curriculum so they're better equipped to handle the stuff that comes with being on social media. Like
because it's not necessarily an app's fault.
Yeah.
They are just doing their basic business practice. This is the case for TikTok, for all other social media and websites like YouTube. They want you to be on their site as long as possible.
Yeah.
That is their goal. And so they know what you like to watch and what catches your attention, and they'll show it to you. It is not exactly their fault that you don't have restraint.
Yeah. Like we need to be educating kids on like the mental shit that comes with downloading apps like that. Like we don't really educate kids on the measurement of self-worth that comes with downloading apps like Facebook and Instagram. We don't talk about the self-comparison that comes with downloading TikTok that kids have to deal with. We don't talk about like the addiction that comes with mindlessly scrolling through all these videos and shit.
To be honest, though, like all of this is still fairly recent. Like it's not like we had enough time with social media or anything to actually know the true effects. I mean, now social media has been in existence just long enough for us to understand, to even start getting this understanding of how it's impacting developmental phases and everything. But part of the problem is it's just like anything in America, they make it addictive. And that's an issue. Like food companies are allowed to put additives and shiz in food to make it more addictive, which is killing us and creating a sick care system. Same with, I think, social media and stuff. It's what we consume for our minds, and it's not helping us be healthier. And this is coming from somebody who spent too much time on TikTok today. I get it. Like it's problematic. And at what point do we say the government has to step in and do this? I don't think it's the government's role to do it. I don't
either.
But I feel like there's a lot of like unintended consequences that are happening because of this. And I think it goes back to just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't think enough people really consider that, especially with the development of AI. Like, it scares the living shiz out of me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. Okay. I've spoken my
Well,
piece.
Jacob,
I
you've been
guess-
wanting to say some things. We keep
Yeah.
hearing it.
I just wanted to, I guess, pose a question to you guys. Is that do you feel that parents are being properly educated or understand these different applications that they're either allowing their kids to have access to or unknowingly having their kids have access to these things? Like, do you think that parents are properly informed about what these applications do,
No.
what they track?
No, but I also kind of think it's a parent's responsibility to do their research before they hand something like that to their kids.
Okay, Alika, I see your point, but when you're a parent that has to work 3 jobs because the price of eggs and gas and everything goes up and like you're so flippin' exhausted, like that's what's hard is because and it doesn't get easier the older you get, like
Right. But
I'm just saying, but like that's what I'm saying is like parents are struggling just to like provide for their family and to sit and read like the terms of service and to research everything. It's like the amount of information we have is a detriment too, because it's like how do you filter through all of that?
And how
Right,
often does
so-
it change
Yeah.
in advance?
So totally get that. And I will say I'm not a parent. I've never been a parent. I've said that multiple times on this podcast. And so I don't know, but at the same time I also kind of feel like by becoming a parent, you also sign on to like that risk of protecting your child, and like you kind of sign on for that when you become a parent. I feel like.
Yeah,
So you make that decision already.
I think that's
So.
fair. I think that's fair, but also on the same coin, you have the parents that just don't give a shit. Like they're just like, you know what?
Not everybody should be
If you want to
parents.
go, watch
And you
porn,
know
watch
what? There's-
porn. If you want to go download Snapchat and give your location and be kidnapped and sex trafficked, go right ahead.
And
But
unfortunately, there are way too many people who shouldn't be parents or who don't want to be parents that are
Yeah.
becoming parents because they haven't been equipped to navigate this world properly either.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. Like, that is a true
so
issue.
it's a culture issue.
So
It's a culture issue, and I think there are nefarious actors like big businesses that stand to profit off of that naivety and that lack of development for even just on I think it behooves them for us to stay stupid on a lot of different things, and so they're going to keep pumping us full of stupid shit.
Well,
Yeah.
and also
Sorry,
like
I'm
even our
sorry.
leaders, like are very under informed, whether they choose to be willfully ignorant or they are just choosing to go that direction for what I mean I've seen some different Congress discussions on what they should ban, and one of the things I was watching was one of these clips where they were trying to decide if they were going to ban a particular wrist or an arm guard, and basically it's for a disabled person to be able to shoot a firearm. So basically it was somebody that had an amputated hand or arm, or like the top part of their arm. They would strap it in a way where they could hold it and they could actually fire it on their own, and they wanted to ban that because they felt like it was part of this whole assault, like military style, like bump stock or whatever. And they're just like, no, you guys are uninformed. This is for a disabled person to shoot a firearm.
Okay, this is like the whole cyborg type of thing where it's like you attach it, like the Terminator's arm, the whole ass arm turns into a gun, like bang, bang. Just like,
No, exactly.
that'd be sick.
And it would allow them to just actuate the arm just a little bit to pull the trigger. And they're trying to ban it because they felt like it was making an automatic weapon into or a semi-automatic weapon into a fully automatic weapon. And I was just like, wow. Like some of these people, like especially watching this congressional hearing
Got you.
with the CEO from TikTok, and listen to some of these people who don't understand how a phone is connected to Wi-Fi, and if you're on the
Oh my
application,
God.
it accesses the
that one
internet
drives
in
me
order
nuts.
to in order to not use your cellular data, and they didn't understand that concept. And I'm just like, these are the people that are like trying to make laws about this stuff. Like, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like there's some very
What-
uninformed and not very intelligent people out there who don't understand these things.
And what kind of sucks is there used to be, I think in the 90s, there was a department of the government that was meant to understand technology and would have those kind of hearings, but then they disbanded them. They like banned it. And so now...
Why would they?
I don't know. And
For
Because it's
precisely
not-
this kind of stuff.
Well, also it's
because it would prevent fear-mongering, which this kind of stuff does, because it's meant to blow things a bit out of proportion.
Well,
and
if
be like,
people-
oh, this could be a complete risk of data that everybody is selling anyways.
Yeah.
And so it
And-
like causes fear, and having informed individuals that can explain that to other people would get rid of that fear, which fear drives controversy.
And it,
well, fear is also puts people in a state in which they're easily controlled.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but it's
No,
well,
it's
all
real.
and I
by
understand. I understand why people are scared of some of these things that are not like, because all of the applications nowadays track all this data, all this information, and they store it, and they swap it around, and sell advertisements in order to better upsell and sell things to you, so that you buy more stuff. Like that's the whole reason that we do. That's the whole reason why Google is here, is because of advertising, and be able to sell people better. Like that's the whole reason that these things even exist. And this has been this way like before even technology like this has even appeared.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing that.
It's what like a
without
lot
technology.
of advertising surveys are. Like you'll
Yeah.
get that kind of stuff like even
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah, but I think it is a reasonable fear of where this data is stored and who has access to it. I think that is
because data and knowledge
a reasonable.
is power.
I think that's a reasonable fear, especially when we do have, people that are not our allies overseas that would be willing to use that data against us. So as far as like the current servers for TikTok, right, are in Singapore and California, and I think
and all American data is in the U.S. It's held by an American company called Oracle. They're like a major data service company, and they hold all of the American data for TikTok, and it's on U.S. soil.
right, and I think they are in the process of getting that all on board, as well as having third party people who are not affiliated with either of the companies to monitor the data and also work and help with their coding and stuff like that. Honestly, I think that's a really good foot forward, especially when it comes to social media and data storage and stuff like that. But I think we need to go further as far as like, the selling and trading of that data, because that's still going on. That's still legal right now. And there's not really a lot of laws to protect Americans from bad actors from within. Like they can take that data and use that against us. And that's not appropriate, especially when they can use that data to like send me a link to click on, record me clicking on that link and going to, let's say for instance, a children's site that adults should not, or anybody should be viewing. And then they could use that and go, oh, well, Jacob clicked on this link and saw, these naked underage people, and now they can use that against me.
No way, that's disgusting. Where?
Oh, no.
So what I'm saying is that they could use that information. Let's say that that's something. Okay, maybe I'm a bad example because I'm not into that stuff. Let's say, but
I should hope not.
We're all like looking at Jacob. We're like,
I know.
So, like,
I'm sitting here
so for
thinking
this instance,
like, where in the heck
it was
is he
a very
going with
bad
this?
example. I apologize. So
we
here's
get
an
what you're
example.
saying, Jacob.
But you get what I'm saying. They
Yeah.
could use that against me. They could send me a link. It could just be like, hey, update your credit score and like get a better score by working with this application. I click it, and it takes me to a bad location, because you can spoof websites very easily. We used to do that.
Phishing.
We should do that in the 90s, like very, very often. And and then they got you. Kind of a deal. Haha.
Gotcha, bitch.
Exactly. So that's very concerning, and I can understand like that fear, especially when people are taking things out of context. When you say stuff on the internet and they don't give you the full clip, they just take that one little sound bite and they're like, oh, see, this person's racist, we should destroy his career and get him kicked off of social media. So I can see where that data could be used against other individuals in different ways, even within the confines of the United States.
Right. And the questions that had to do with that, I can appreciate. The questions that had to do with like teenagers and kids' mental health, I was kind of like,
what do you mean?
You guys don't really care much about that. So the whole they were asking a few questions. I didn't watch the whole thing. I need to go back and watch some. They were asking
long.
They're asking some questions where it was like, oh, like, well, what that had to do with protecting kids and teenagers from, mental health issues that
13 to 17, where they're basically if they search like mental health stuff.
Yeah,
I do love that TikTok does that though. Like you can search something that's like kind of against like your own health, like saying like I want to die, and it will immediately take you to be like, do you need help?
Like wholesome,
and it will give you
help.
It will give you immediately a page that's like, here are like suicide hotlines.
Yeah,
but here's the
help stuff
problem.
like that.
But here's the problem though, is that people aren't going to use those words or phrases to look for that kind of stuff because they know that stuff could get flagged. They know that stuff that can, not get you what you want. It'll just take you to the default page. Hey, if you want to unlife yourself, call the Unlife helpline, where people use different words or different hashtags to associate with that particular thing. And now the algorithms and the individuals that are trying to protect people from going to these different places and get more of this information or to like and enjoy this kind of content, it's making it more difficult for the algorithms to find it because they have to catch up with the new words or phrases that are being trending on those particular things. That's how people get around with selling drugs through Snapchat and other applications like that, like through Facebook.
Or you have people with like OnlyFans and things like that, and they use #spicy account.
Yeah, exactly.
It's spicy.
It's a very innocuous word, and it's not harming anybody or hurting anything because when they think spicy, algorithm goes, oh, it's talking about like ghost peppers or habaneros, where it's actually talking about, pornography. So
let's just
that's
search
the
spicy
thing
on TikTok.
That's the thing that I'm worried about as well, because
I know immediately what you're going to see.
Kids are going to find ways around it.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that's why I think it's really interesting because there are going to be parents that are going to be really, really good at locking down their children's phones until they feel that they're old enough and wise enough and have the capacity to resist when, all they want to do is just sit there all day long and scroll through these different things. But at the same time, there's also going to be bad actors who are not going to be very cognizant about what these applications do, about how much time they can sink into it, how it does change the way that your mind thinks when you're on it for long periods of time. It is reprogramming your brain.
Yeah.
So there has to be a kind of like a median or like a compromise where, yes, we definitely need parents to be good parents and be very involved with their children's development, very involved with the things of today and the things that change month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, so they can be up on that and to be smart about their child's development. But also at the same time, there also needs to be safeguards. And this is where it gets to the point where I have a more radical view on it. And I think, I don't know if I would even say this is one right side or left side or whatever, but I really feel very, very strongly that these social media apps and algorithms and stuff like that should not be connected with children. I think they're too young. I think with their developing brains, it's going to really be bad for their development. I think it's going to give, young women bad body images. I think it's going to give men the wrong impression of how to treat women. I think it's going to be really bad for children who have body dysmorphia who start to get to the point where they want to go into
Can we just
trying to figure out their sexuality way too young. So for me, I think it's important to have a safeguard, and part of that is that if you can give a 16-year-old a license to run around in a 2,000-pound vehicle, which could kill people, I think that's a great place to start for social media accounts. And I think the best way to do that is to have a license. They have to scan the barcode on their license.
I can respect that. Yeah.
Can we also talk about like the fact that a lot of these social media platforms are also used for extremely horrific things like human and sex trafficking. And like, if the algorithms can figure out stuff like that, they should be able to eliminate that. But the only reason why we have such an issue with the amount of human trafficking and sex trafficking is because there's a demand for it. And a lot of that demand is expressed through social media.
Yeah.
That's extremely troublesome for me.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. Gosh, who's the YouTube person I'm thinking of? Somebody figure it out. But basically,
Sure, let me just read your mind.
she's one of the individuals who were a radical leftist, like BLM, like, you know, all white people are racist, and she eventually went center and eventually became a conservative. Her name is very ethnic. Why can't I remember her name right now? But anyways, she exposed some very interesting things on the TikTok platform. There is an alarming amount of underage children who are trying to be models.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting.
I don't know if they are trying to be models or if their guardian is trying to get them to be models.
That's fair enough, because that is definitely the case with some individuals. Ben Stiller. What's her name? Amala.
I don't think it's Ben Stiller.
Her name is Amala Ekpunobi. I can't remember her.
How do you spell that?
Oh, she's the PragerU chick.
PragerU person, yeah. Amala, Amala. Last name Ekpunobi.
There we go. I see it.
Yeah. So she's somebody who was on one side of the spectrum, and now she's more center right. It seemingly, as far as I can tell. But she did a whole video on how many thousands of children who are trying to be models, like on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and how a lot of these, you know, how that is encouraging predator
Pedophilia.
behavior.
Oh, yeah.
All the comments from the creepy old dudes that she was highlighting. That
Yes. I was like, this is why
kids shouldn't be on social media.
But the parents, this is the problem. Parents that have kind of grown up with
Social media.
With social media, it's like, oh yeah, let's get them attention. They're so cute, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's created a population of narcissists.
Yeah. Yep.
It's bad.
Yeah. So this is why I think there should be a way where people can scan their ID cards, their driver's licenses, so they can confirm the birth date and everything. And they have a driver's license now connected to that account. So if there's any issues, especially when it comes to protecting people from violence and stuff like that, you can reasonably find somebody very, very quickly, you know, through a warrant, obviously through due process of the police going to the company and requesting the information in the proper way. That's something that's kind of concerning right now as well, too, is that there's not any laws preventing government to go in and say, hey, Facebook, we want metadata or information on this person. They can just give it to them freely if they want to. There doesn't have to be a due process right now. And I think there's some bills going through right now which require a warrant in order to get like metadata information from somebody off of like a social media website.
The problem is the government was using the social media platforms to also squelch. And squelch free speech and stuff like on anyway.
Oh, and
It's getting
that's a
lot
whole other
crazier.
topic when it comes to TikTok. That's something that's kind of concerning me right now, because out of all of the social media accounts that we've been posting on, and I've been posting on personally, talking about political issues, social issues, religion, philosophy, I've been finding that either people are flagging videos and very easily getting them taken down, or they are on a certain side politically and shutting down different individuals or thought processes on one side or the other. And this is something that's actually been tracked on a numerous websites and journalists, like kind of following TikTok and how they have changed things, especially with their guidelines being so vague. They can pretty much ban you or take down a video without any due process. And being somebody on the end where my videos were flagged, or they were automatically community guidelines because of a phrase or a person I said, or a certain viewpoint, I don't know, because they don't say. They just say community guidelines violation, sorry, and then your account gets throttled, which really sucks, because I was literally getting like 150, 200, sometimes 300 plus views on some videos, and as soon as I get a guidelines violation,
It goes down to below.
it
100.
goes down below 100. And I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And it's honestly like, we even went over this on the last podcast, where it was literally me saying, hey, this is what people are saying. What do you think about this or that? And that was, taken as hate speech, or is taken as guidelines violation, or perpetuating violence or hate, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, but there's no, the phrase that you said here is what we had a problem with. Mm-hmm. There's no like the way, or this person that you're talking
context.
about, or there's misinformation with this information here that you gave. There's nothing. It's very nebulous.
It doesn't clarify.
There's no clarification. It's just,
it's usually like buzzwords. It flags.
And that's stupid, because both sides play buzzwords.
Oh yeah.
And it's like,
I had one recently. It was not political at all. That got it taken down, but it's just because of the word I said. I said penis, and and it's like I said it several times.
This podcast is going to get flagged now.
And
Great, thanks.
Yeah, you're
Bryson.
welcome. And they immediately took it down, and I was like, "Dang!"
I thought the word penis.
I thought
We
my
have to take it
video
down.
was hysterical because it was, but I was like, "What the heck is that?" I was like, "I'm not saying anything that's offensive." I was like, "I was just making a stupid joke."
And penis
That
is
doesn't-
the actual term.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, I'm
so
not saying like
oh,
some.
my little Willy.
Yeah.
Somehow the
That's
word
what I should have said. That would've
Somehow-
been so funny.
somewhere along the way, the word penis became more inappropriate than the word dick.
what happened to that? When
Dick
did
is
that
now
happen?
somehow more mature than penis.
Well, we're for sure getting flagged on this
Yeah,
one,
I
because
know, I was
we've
gonna
said
say.
it how many times now?
We're fine.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just
So
Bryson's keeping track.
YouTube
that's
and
really
Spotify is way more lenient with those words.
yeah. Yep. It's just really sad that ever since this whole debacle with Joe Rogan having people that have different opposing views on like things like, the coof or the poke.
The what?
The coof or the poke?
I don't know what either.
The
of those
jab?
are.
The jab?
What are you on about?
Vaccines?
Oh,
Because for a long time, like, vaccine was like the bad word.
me
You
and
couldn't
Kai
say
are like, what
vaccine.
are you saying?
What are you on
You
about,
couldn't
bro?
you couldn't talk about it, or else you'd get flagged.
Yeah, and even the guy who owned the majority of the patents on the mRNA technology, who went on Joe Rogan and said, "Hey, this is not great for children. This is probably not good for people, who are sick, or these different things." And they basically had to, they started the whole campaign on him saying the N-word, which is ridiculous, because it's just a word. It's like people not saying Voldemort, And I'm not
he
saying
was
that.
quoting someone else when
And he
said it,
was.
right?
All of it
Yeah.
was usually quoting lyrics or what people had said about the word, and then asking questions about how that works within culture, within different people,
He
different
wasn't
skin
calling
colors. He
anybody
wasn't
that,
calling
or-
anybody the word. He wasn't like being profane with it. He was legitimately asking like very interesting questions about it. I mean, there were some times where just like, okay, dude, you're just trying to use the word just to use it for whatever reason.
Either way, I say
But either way-
try to avoid it at all costs.
I
even
don't
if you're
think
quoting
anybody
someone.
should be saying the word. Either the word's bad or the word is not. I don't think
Yeah.
we should have this nebulous of, well, some people can, because we're reclaiming that word because we were oppressed with it for so long. Now we're going to use the word as a term of endearment for only our people. That doesn't make any sense to me. Either it's good or it's bad.
I wasn't there.
I don't know.
I wasn't there during
I'm
the
very
oppression, man.
binary on that particular word and other words that are being utilized. Either it's good or it's bad.
See, well, that's the word bitch for women.
Yeah.
Yeah, like women are okay to say it, but men cannot.
Or like the C word. Like the C word is like the
Ugh.
F word in the UK.
I don't like using that word.
No,
It
that
just makes
hurts.
me uncomfortable.
I do not like that word, and I don't think anybody. I don't.
Well, the F word in like the UK, they're just like, why are you even using that word? Because bloody is their F word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the word they like to use for their F word. That's why I think like
Funny
language
because
is
it's in
so
Harry,
interesting.
Harry Potter so much.
Let me tell you.
know.
It's like imagine if it was in America, everybody'd be like, "Oh, what the?
Oh, bloody hell.
Avada Kedavra, you mother,
You bloody mudblood.
you bloody mudblood."
You
Oh. But yeah, there's
Taste the rainbow, mother.
mother blubber.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This whole
God.
TikTok thing is interesting. I think honestly, it is. I feel like it is a little bit of a not publicity. It's a little bit
It's
of
a
a
distraction.
political stunt.
Yeah.
Political theater.
because they're not talking about all the other programs, the other applications, the other search engines who are just as bad, if not worse.
Oh yeah.
Like how much bloatware is in our current like Windows operating systems.
Oh god.
You know, it's-
so much.
you know, it's
like
weird.
ever
It's
since
insane.
Windows 7, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. Like they're tracking everything now.
You know what's funny is they're having they're getting after TikTok about all this before they're getting after Pornhub
oh my god.
Oh,
For-
don't
or
get me
even
started.
OnlyFans. Even
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. All you got to do is click a checkbox and hit accept, and you are in. That is
Yeah.
not an acceptable age gate
No.
for that kind of content.
A click.
I don't mind that the content is out there, but it definitely needs to have an
Restrictions.
appropriate gate
Yeah.
to ensure that
Well-
children are not accessing this information, and children are at an alarming rate right now.
You know, the issue is though, like, all of these huge companies with all this money said, "Oh, let's go get so and so on our side." I mean, it's freaking lobbyists, man. It's like, okay, well, we'll compromise.
Lobbying
on this.
should be illegal.
Agreed.
I do not understand why lobbying is legal in our country, where people can spend money to basically get people to do things for them in Congress and lawmaking. That's why we have all this pork and like really bad like laws that come into play.
Yeah, because the law, the government should be nonpartisan. They should not have an opinion and just be basing it on facts.
Exactly.
And why
There should be
are-
zero feelings in these kinds of things. Like,
Yeah,
and
but
I
that's
understand.
impossible because we're human.
I
Everybody
agree.
is human.
I
But
agree.
you can still accept and acknowledge your feelings and still try to be non-biased and
Okay.
put those to the side. That's what journalism does. That's what government should be doing.
Well,
That's what journalism should be doing.
That's
But
true.
it doesn't. But here's the other issue. Like, that's why that's why America is so unique, is because the Constitution and Bill of Rights was designed for that, to set that up. That's why we have freedom of speech. And that's why, like, when big oligarchs and monopolies start playing censors, that's concerning. But then when mainstream media also utilizes or starts promoting one political ideology over another, that's dangerous, and doesn't allow for the speech both ways, that's dangerous. Like, and that's on both sides. I'm 100% on both sides. Like, it's an
Yeah.
issue. But that's why the Constitution makes it so unique and why everybody's watching America so closely right now.
Yeah.
Like, from other
They want to see
countries and
if we're
everything.
going to implode or not.
Yeah, because, like, honestly...
God, it's going to happen. We're all going to die.
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to, like, well, thinking about how old our country is right now, it's over 200 years old.
People
That
live to
is
be
not-
100.
That
That's
That
3
is
people
not
ago.
old.
That's a good
not
point.
old.
That is a good point.
Dude, when you're going through freaking Rome, Italy, and there's like, this structure has been here for over 4,000 years, you're like, holy shit. Right? Like, 200 years is not that old.
Most empires end around 300 years. Fun fact.
Historically, yes, that is true.
Oh God, we're on the way.
Yeah, we're close.
We don't have to be a statistic, though.
It's true.
We don't have to be. But we're
But-
well on our
but-
way.
Yeah.
If we continue on the path that we're on right now,
It's gonna
we're
happen.
well on our way.
French Revolution.
It's gonna happen in your guys's. Like,
Our-
Rihanna and I will
Bryson
probably be
and
long and dead, but you guys will probably have to live through it.
Bryson
Sorry.
and I will be old men by the time it happens. I'm sure.
We'll be
We're
cheering
not
it on.
that much older than them.
And then Jesus will come.
We'll be cheering it on. We'll
My
be
mom-
like, let's go.
My mom's favorite thing to say...
Fight the government, stupid.
My
Yeah.
mom's favorite thing to say is like, I hope the second coming happens soon.
Oh my goodness.
It's-
Just
that's-
waiting for it.
Yeah.
Probably going to be waiting for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's supposed to have been come back for how many thousands of years right now?
what watch are you looking at?
That's why it was funny, because I don't have a watch. I'm like, how long
It's
has it been?
imaginary. Like Jesus. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. But okay. So going back to our discussion here on social media, I think it's good that we're having this conversation now.
Yes.
Because not only is the CEO doing his best to accommodate, like
And give
especially with
answers.
Project Texas and like keeping all the data here in the United States, having it being monitored by third parties, like having it, having third parties go through their algorithms and like all their coding to make sure it's all copacetic. I think that those are great, foots forward. And I think this is going to be a good time for them to go, okay, now we're going to have some kind of rules and regulations when it comes to social media and children. I hope that ends up
Being what this outcome.
I really
is.
do, because I think that's the only thing I think is going to be the best thing for this, is to be like, well, I think we need to increase the age to 16, and you have to have a driver's license to scan into the application so that we can verify your age. I mean, it still isn't perfect. Somebody can steal your ID, parental.
But with phones having like facial recognition and everything,
Yeah.
and if you're scanning an ID that has a ID, like a photo associated with it and everything,
And it doesn't match your photo.
Yeah, like,
I don't
That
know.
makes sense. I
I
mean,
don't
they
know.
could do that.
There's some filters that don't really know how to tell age. One of them thought that I looked 12 the other day, so they're
oh yeah, I
child.
have one that looks
Well,
23, but I
she's-
think
she's
that's more of
talking
a
about-
random.
Yeah,
she's
that's-
talking about having that ED and having pictures
it can
associated with
match
the
your
account and then
face.
matching your face and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
No.
I mean, I think it's probably going to be difficult when it comes to like beards and stuff like that. If somebody shaves their beard off,
Yeah.
Yeah, my Face ID
But-
doesn't always work.
I'm just saying. There's going to be some hiccups into that, and I'm sure that the algorithms and the AI are going to get better and better over time. But I think there can be reasonable gates put into
Yeah.
place for applications, especially for social media, as well as websites, like when it comes to pornography. When it talks about sexuality, like in general, like I think, children should stay away from that kind of stuff and allow the parents to either teach them or to be able to find out after they are of age and they can appropriately like look at that content.
Well,
Like, I
it's
think that
not
stuff is very
appropriately
important.
look at it, but to maybe understand how
Be able to make
right, like their
have
brain,
conscious decisions on
yes,
it.
their brain is fully developed or more developed along the lines so that it's not. Because, like, honestly, I don't think a 3-year-old understands what the actual consequences of puberty blockers are, or like, you know what I mean? Even a 12-year-old child,
Yeah.
or they don't understand the effect that that's going to have. That it could potentially make them sterile. That it's going to mess with their brain chemistry because it messes with their hormones and their brain development, and how it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
And reproduction, unfortunately.
Right,
It affects
like-
everything in your body.
So that's why I'm saying, like, anyway, alcohol affects the brain. So do puberty blockers and hormone replacement and all that stuff.
So does
weed.
social media.
So does social media. It's so true.
Does food.
Food. Oh my gosh,
Yummy.
food's a huge one. I saw this whole thing on like how your gut biome affects your brain chemistry.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
what
gonna
you
go
eat-
get some kefir.
Yeah, what you eat definitely does affect. It's wild.
And did you know? Okay, learn this today. That there is a company that is selling poop from elite athletes
Tasty.
for you to ingest because the microbiome. No, seriously, it's been proven. It's been proven that the microbiome in somebody's like fecal matter can, if it starts in yours, it like has helped people lose massive amounts of weight.
I've
It's
given
helped-
up.
No matter how much science, whatever bullshit that's saying, it's like, yeah, this is true. I will never do that.
You will never ingest somebody
never-
else's poop.
No, that
I
is
could
the
never-
dumbest shit I've ever heard of.
It is the craziest
Dumb
thing.
shit.
So like I
Well, I
like,
could always sun your balls.
oh my gosh.
Or no,
And
I
now
follow
we're
the 9
really
ancestral
gonna get
tenets.
flagged. And here we go.
I'm gonna sleep on the cement tonight.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's new science that's coming out apparently that like microbiome, like because
Well,
they
here's
have
the
seen
problem.
Just
Here's
because
the-
we can do it doesn't mean we should.
That. Amen.
Exactly.
That's one
once
thing
more.
as well. The other thing is that science is the
Science rules.
the ideology of science is that it is always in motion. Like, yeah, there are some things that we can say, like gravity, what goes up, what comes down. Well, until, we
nuts.
disprove that, that's science, right? So here's the thing. Because we are so connected, because we can send data, over the internet, because of social media, because of all this information that can be sent very, very quickly. Science, something that's discovered, or like they have like a study and they just get that study done, they publish it, they send it out, and now people are calling it science gospel. These are the facts and the figures. And then as time goes on,
Things change.
things change. So what's really interesting about science is that they say, this is how black holes work. That is an incorrect statement. They should say, as far as we know,
Yeah.
this is what we understand about black holes. And that's what I don't understand about people talking about science, people talking about facts and figures. And so just saying, well, this is the facts. These are the things that we know. Instead, they can say, as far as we know, as far as these studies that we've had thus far, this is the data and the things that we understand. And the problem is you'll have all these things like what's the other thing that's been going on TikTok? This whole weight loss thing with ice.
What? What are you on about?
I don't know if you guys have seen those on TikTok. We're just like, oh, well, my mom, she started doing this ice thing. She lost a ton of weight.
Are you?
Just
You're not
chew
talking about
ice.
the cold plunge or anything. Are you?
No.
Okay.
No, like chewing ice.
Chewing
makes
ice makes you
weight.
lose weight.
Yeah, because you're not eating calories.
No, and it was a big thing. I remember this. It was a big thing back in the late 80s, early 90s.
That's not true though.
No, it's not. But it's like stupid.
I love Kai. Just
But
be
this
like,
is the thing.
"But that's
They
not-
can
that's not
put
real."
out information so fast without any evidence to back it up, or very little evidence, or not a long enough period of time to explore the evidence and call it science. That is a really big issue that we have right now because of the internet, because of social media. So that's why you can't take everything at face value. You have to do, and
Some of
this
your
is
own
what
research.
you have to do, some of your own research. And this is something that bugs me. I listen to left-leaning podcasts alongside with my right-leaning podcasts and some moderate in between there. And it really bugs me when I listen to things on the Best of the Left, which is a very accredited big podcast right now on the left and progressive side. And honestly, most of the time, a lot of the things that they say, I agree with, or at least can partially understand where they're coming from. But when you listen to other people like rant and rave and say things like, well, if you tell somebody to do your own research, that is fundamental racism. or silly stuff like
What?
that. Yeah, no, I am absolutely not joking at all, you guys. 100% true. I was listening to the Best of the Left, and they were hearing somebody rant and rave and how racist white people are and how inherently racist, so-and-so people are. And then they basically said that if a conservative or a right, alt-right winger says to do your own research, that is based in racism. And I was like, if we think this way and not doing our own research, we're doing a disservice not only to ourselves, but for the other people that you continue to say things that are incorrect.
Again, people are easier to control if they're kept stupid. So if they have the excuse, they're being racist by telling me to do my own research, then I don't have to do it.
Yeah. And one of the steps you need to take is not just take headlines at face value. You need to read the article.
Yeah. Headlines are meant to pull you in. They're a hook.
100%.
Oftentimes, the headline sometimes doesn't even have anything to do with the article. It's just meant to grab your attention.
Exactly.
Amen. I've noticed this especially because I've been taking a writing class for journalism, and we have to write headlines for each article that we do. And I've gotten better at just making hook type headlines. And I'm like, this sort of plays into the article, but you would definitely have to read it to actually know this would not work as a normal article.
Mm-hmm. And everybody is culpable in this. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it definitely can be misleading. And that's something that's really important to think of when you see these different articles. That's why you need to, read stuff from CNN. You got to read stuff from Fox News. You got to read stuff from all different sides, right, left, and center. Liberal, libertarian. You need to read as much as you can from everything. Liberals it's such a broad term.
I hate that term.
I do
because I'm considered liberal. I don't think I'm liberal.
But what's the definition of liberal?
It's just left.
No. Look it up. Look up the definition of liberal.
Let's see.
It literally is. It's the embodiment of tolerance, basically.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that when you find people that proclaim themselves liberals, and this is kind of interesting with people who ideologically identify with racism being inherent because of your skin color, which is really funny, because if you're a liberal and you say, well, these people are automatically fundamentally, racist because of the color of their skin. Well, you're being racist and intolerant.
Yeah.
So why are you calling yourself liberal? That seems very counterintuitive for the idealism of liberalism. Mm-hmm. And I just think, and people don't understand these terms. They hear them as buzzwords and they repeat them, but they don't understand the definition or the terminology behind it.
Yeah.
Or because, and that's the thing about words, is words are continually changing and adding. And sadly, some of the terms that you understand one way can be rewritten and changed another way because everything is all digitized. Mm-hmm. How about all the people fighting for changing the terminology of a recession? That people were literally they had to lock the page on Wikipedia because so many people were fighting over that page to change it one way or the other. Literally, it changed several times over a week period. It was funny because I was listening to Joe Rogan, and every day they went back, oh, it changed again. Now it's not 2 consecutive downturns of economic, whatever. And then it changes back, and it's just oh, actually, it's more of a nuanced, it's actually these terms. And you're just oh, wow. And that's something that's really scary because when everything is digitized, everything can be reasonably and easily changed and altered. Mm-hmm.
Easily
and fictionalized.
Yeah, he's on a roll right now.
I'm on a rant. I'm on a roll. And so,
hey, we're going on a couple hours.
Well, we got our guy that lets us know when we're about ready to wrap up.
We're good. Yeah, I was letting you finish your thought.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, yeah. I'm
yeah, that's not your job.
I'm the mean wife that was okay, I'm done.
You're supposed to create content, baby. Come on, I need some.
Pick me up,
Jacob. That's not your job.
It's not. You're supposed to help create content here. You're supposed to co-host, baby.
I talked a lot.
You did a great job, and I'm losing my voice. But Yeah, we live in a very strange time in our lives. It really is. We're definitely teetering over the edge as far as like where we're starting to throw out like things like the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, like these things that are fundamental to our country are either being forgotten or wanting to be rewritten. And it's like really important because that's part of our identity as Americans. And that's something that's really important.
It's the one thing that unifies us because we have people that have come from multiple cultures, multiple countries, different cultures, all this sort of stuff. But the one thing that unifies us is those fundamentals that our country was founded on.
Yeah.
How they're being executed, a little bit of BS right now. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A lot of BS.
Yeah.
And like the oligarchs and like all the
Well,
like big corporations, like don't even get me started.
it's
because this is where I don't fit in a right or left because I think like all these billionaires and crap, like they're being.
You're starting to become a libertarian like me.
I'm
a total libertarian. I will admit. I'm
she definitely
we just
identifies more with libertarian views.
We just
or
got
more
two
of a moderate conservative.
Government just sucks at doing everything.
Yeah.
We got 2 Ron Swansons.
And honestly,
in the podcast.
Yes.
liberalism is like conservative adjacent.
Why government matters? It doesn't. Well said.
Okay, y'all. I'm a fan of Michael Malice. I'm just gonna say, and he's an anarchist.
Cool.
That's concerning.
It is not. He's
Anarchy
cool.
is concerning.
It's not. It's
Our system isn't perfect, but we're not in like complete anarchy.
no. I know we're not in complete anarchy.
Anyway.
Anyway.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. I'm tired.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for watching another episode of the Periodic Review podcast. Hopefully, we have earned your subscription today. So don't forget to like this video, share it with family and friends, subscribe, as well as turn on notifications so you don't miss a content release. Follow us on everything. We are on every platform for now. TikTok is kind of loosey-goosey. Just started a new one.
Go
account,
watch us on all the social media that we just talked shit on for the last hour.
That's the way we get our message out. And from our family to yours, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.